It's a beautiful Sunday for yet another Q&A session. And if you're wondering what this is, or you're just not familiar with this concept, it is the similar setup to the weekly live streams, except of course, instead of being live, it is pre-recorded and you can ask whatever questions that you want to be asking. Might not have all the answers for them, but you can ask whatever you want to ask, of course, in the Discord link in the description below. It'll actually bring you over to this page here and you just find your way to the weekly Q&A section on Discord, and then you can post whatever your heart desires. Anyways, before we get into this one, I'll do a very brief and quick Bitcoin analysis, and then we'll get into the actual content of the day. But looking at Bitcoin, nothing's changed here in quite some time, to be honest. But the area in which I would switch around to being bullishly biased and saying that, hey, whatever this correction is, it's over. Get ready for up, and very likely 100,000 plus is still going to be the high from the 6th of March, and that is, depending upon your exchange, a little bit below about 93,000 bucks. Until that high is taken out, I do remain with the general bearish bias. Of course, you're going to see bounces. I mean, we're seeing a bounce right now, but ultimately the 2-day time frame, I think, is telling the story right now. Despite this bounce, being decent off of the $77,000 region, it is starting to create some hidden bearish divergence here. You can see that there is a higher high on the 2-day RSI compared to the 4th of March high when Bitcoin was trading above 90,000 bucks. So if Bitcoin is going to actually confirm a local high right here, well, that hidden bearish divergence would also be confirmed, and very likely another swipe somewhere down around 80,000 bucks. Here's the thing though, I do think it's not wise, at least right now, it's not wise, at least for me, to say this is a full-on bear market cycle. Bitcoin's seen the all-time high for this cycle, and it's going to be a year or two of sideways and down. I'm still holding on to a general bull market. As long as Bitcoin is above the November 2024 low. As long as Bitcoin's above there, I do look at this as likely a correction. Doesn't mean that it can't change, just that's where my line is. And of course, to the upside, where I actually get, a little bit more bullish in the short and medium term is again above that 6th of March high right here. Other than that, everything is pretty much more or less the same, to be honest. And I do want to let you know that you can still get our promotion for 20% off of any one of the programs or services that you see in the link in the description below for Teachable with the code YEAR7, year in all capitals, YEAR, and then the number 7, again, all capitals there. And then you can actually even try the Quant Prime AI service, the full Caretaker Indicator Bundle Suite, the VMP, and the quantum wave bands. You can try those all for free for the first 30 days with the code TRIAL, TRIAL in all capitals. And you don't need to pay a fucking cent. You can try them all out. You can literally cancel the second after that if you desire, of course. But we really want people to to get a chance to get their hands on these tools, because I think I think honestly, once you see a lot of these things, it's going to be hard to go back, to be honest. But anyways, you will be the judge of that. Let's get to the actual content of the day. Here is the Q&A from the YouTube member section. As always, YouTube gets priority right here, and we will start it off with Cousin Burley. Cousin Burley says, "Hey Crown, are there any plans to create something similar to the quantum wave bands for shorts? Thanks for allowing people to test drive." Yeah, referring to that free trial, which it sounds like you're in and sounds like you're enjoying, which is good. But the quantum wave bands as of right now is long only. In the future, are there shorts planned? We have spoken about that. And one of the creators is in favor of it. I'm a little bit more on the edge, just because when we're talking about cryptos, especially Bitcoin, it's generally an upside asset. So looking for short strategies can be kind of like it can be kind of like squeezing fucking water from rocks on an asset like this. I'm not saying that you can't make money. Of course, you can make a shit ton of money shorting the market, but the easier trades are to the upside generally. And the quantum wave bands were really designed for, more novice traders, more newer people, as kind of like a set of training wheels to kind of keep you on track with your trading. Of course, I mean, the results for it are, at least in my opinion, quite good, but it's a really good starter sort of strategy, because it'll tell you when it wants to enter, it'll tell you when it wants to exit, and of course, the risk management is also done for you as well, meaning that, you're not going to be taking like humongously nasty losses that shave off fucking 50% of your account. I mean, unless you're like highly leveraged or something. But of course, this is a scalping strategy, as you can see right here. Now, it's really good that you asked about this because there actually are a lot of things coming like very, very soon. I think before the end of this month, actually, that are going to be added to the quantum wave bands. We're actually going to be raising the monthly price from 70 to 90 as well to reflect these changes because it's going to be adding a lot. So I think that's rather exciting. Anyways, cool. Yeah, let's move on to Arms Private. Arms Private says, hey, Ground, please look at the hash ribbons indicator for the projected buy signal. And would you open long if we see a 5-day closure above the 5 EMA, which is around $87,000 as of the current period? Yeah, the 5-day 5 EMA means nothing to me at this moment. It's either trend or the hash ribbons, and of course we already went over the trend condition. That's got to be Bitcoin back above that March 6th high. Until then, I think it's better to be a bit more cautious and likely expect another run at the lows. Maybe it creates a slightly new low, maybe it's a slightly higher low, maybe it's the same low. I don't fucking know, but I'm not looking for like tremendously new lows, especially below that 200 simple on the 2-day time frame. But yeah, going back into your question right here, let's just directly look at the hash ribbons and see what they're doing. What are these damn ribbons doing? And what do you know? Yeah, we can't even get a projection for when it'll cross as of current because it is awaiting the recovery phase. So I do expect this buy signal to happen relatively soon. I think it'll be in less than a month, probably even less than a couple weeks. The reason why I say that is because on average, it has taken from the first capitulation signal to a blue buy signal throughout the history of this signal. It's taken around about 41 to 42 days. We are already on day number 48. So I look at this as, it's likely going to fire off, I would imagine relatively soon, or, realistically, I don't expect it to go on for that much longer. Now, on the upper end, we have seen it take as long as a little over 100 days. So that is extreme. And that would obviously say that, hey, we're like halfway there. We're less than halfway there right now. But yeah, I'm still looking at this one as likely to print probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'd imagine. And when that does happen, it's not an immediate buy signal for me. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a setup. So that signal will essentially let me know about where I want to buy. I want to buy close to whatever the last prior major low was, if and when that does happen. And well, we'll update on this one. If and when it does happen. Of course, it will happen over a long enough period of time. It's just, does it happen here when Bitcoin's at $80,000, or does it happen when Bitcoin's at $50,000? That's the key in waiting for it. And patience goes a long distance here. Anyways, old Gringod, Gringod, I'm struggling with his name. Can I get your thoughts on the esteemed cryptocurrency EUL daily, weekly, long term? Well, let's see. All right, Euler. Better than most. In fact, this thing is knocking on like a real breakout. I don't know when we looked at this last. I'm guessing we looked at it for you last, and this was probably like a week or two ago. But I look at this as actually, if Bitcoin shows any threat of a bounce, this thing is going to break out and make new all-time highs. At least retest these highs at like 13, 14 bucks, but I think it would make new highs from there. This, to me, it looks quite good, honestly. Now, in the short term, is it likely to try for a breakout from right here? Maybe it takes another stab at this $7.50 to $8 region, but I don't think it's ready to break out just yet, to be honest. I am starting to see a lot of bearish divergence form on the daily time frame. Here's what the 2-day looks like. Yeah, more or less the same. 3 days, same shit. 5 days, same shit. Long term, very likely going to break out. It's just, the timing of this. If it rejects here, it's going to take a lot more time, like many more months. So what would confirm a breakout? Well, closing back above whatever this high was from March of last year, not this year, but last year, which is 765. If you see something like that, yeah, this thing should very likely go for new all-time highs. We can also look at, this is technically an ascending triangle reaccumulation here, so there is an implied target to be made. That's pointed all the way up to $25. Oh wait, let me just put this on linear scale because that's probably not accurate. In fact, just doing some mental math here, that cannot quite literally be accurate. Anyways, Yeah, if and when it does break out above that pivot, you're looking at nearly a 2x move, very likely somewhere around 13 to 14 bucks. I think it'll even continue, from there. But this thing is having a much different chart than most things, at least that I've seen. So, and definitely than all of the majors. All right, cool. Let's move on. We have Crypto Rect. He says, "Hey Crown, can you please provide an outlook on Fartcoin on the daily?" Okay, so last we looked at Fart, we said, hey, this thing's likely topped out, but it's getting ready for like a big bounce, most likely. This was maybe a couple weeks ago. Let's see where it's at now. All right, nice, pretty big bounce actually so far, especially if that's linear scale. Yeah, great, looks great on log scale for this bounce, already up 161%, not bad. Yeah, so Fartcoin here, as I imagine most meme coins are setting up for bounces. Most things in this market want bounces right now, it seems to me. I do think that this one will go higher than where it's currently at. I think it actually probably has like another 50% move here, somewhere closer to 70 cents. But to me, this next rally is extremely likely going to lead into another lower high. So do be aware that this thing, if you see it continue on, which I think that it will continue on, if you see it somewhere between $1 to 70 cents, it's like a big range, to be honest, but about $1 to 70 cents, that's kind of where I'd be expecting, a bull trap lower high, if this thing is going to do it. Now, if I'm wrong, it'll probably just reclaim prior all-time highs. I think that's extremely unlikely. Again, here is what the real chart looks like. Don't think that this thing is going to be making new all-time highs anytime soon, but I can always be wrong on this. I do think that this bounce is going to be for selling, but it can go up a lot more than where it's at right now before the bounce is over. And I do think that it will continue to go up more before this bounce is over. Like I said, somewhere between 70 cents to maybe even as much as a buck. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful, man. Let's see. Do you reckon 60 to 70 cents is possible? I think it's definitely possible in the coming weeks. It's always difficult to time these sort of things, right? But I think in general it's gonna get at least somewhere around there, yeah. Before the inevitable likely happens yet again. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, I'm sure. All right, sweet. Now we are ready to go into the Discord section here. We'll just go down the list. I'll get through as many as I can. We're already about 12 minutes into this video, so we'll see how many we can do in 1 hour. All right, we got Texas Sig up first. He says, first, nice. To appreciate the daily insights as always. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Saw an Elsa, Pennsylvania license plate today. It was handicapped, photo attached. Nice. An Elsa truck, actually. It's funny, man. Elsa and I went to the States recently in Florida, and we were seeing all these big ass trucks. We even rode in a couple as well. And after that, Elsa's like, when we move, you got to get a truck. You got to get a truck. And actually, I'm like pretty for it now as well. I never would have thought I would buy a truck before, but it's so much fun to be in these massive fucking cars. Anyways, can we take a look at QBT stock? Okay. Whatever timeframes you're looking at. All right. Well, I'm just going to default to the higher timeframes in this case, this quantum computing. We can see daily is at best within a range. I think it just hit the top side of, didn't just hit the top side of the range, but rejected the top side of the range. Now back in the middle of the range, kind of what you expect. Looking for something obvious long-term. Not a fan of this, whatever this is. And I really don't like the history here because it has a history of having these one-off pumps just like an actual shitcoin and then coughing it up. This is what Ripple does, Anyways, my main point is that I'm not looking for this particular move to get any sort of further carry through than what you've already seen to the upside. Now, can it bounce more? Can it play out a move towards 11, 12 bucks? Sure. But I still think that's probably a selling opportunity. Looking at the monthly, it's like, I'm never going to trust a chart like this. The long-term direction is unchanged here despite these pops. So I think that ultimately this rally wherever it finds a high, whether it's already in or whether it heads a little bit higher towards like, I don't know, like fucking 10, 11, 12, 13 bucks, whatever, it will fail and it will come back down essentially to the lows that you saw from 2024, somewhere around there. So kind of like a ticking time bomb. It's like, unless if you got in on this pump over here and then dumped, like you can't hold something like, or you can do whatever the fuck you want. I cannot hold something like this ever. And in fact, I wouldn't even trade something like this, to be honest, as well. But yeah, hey, get the fuck out of here. Elsa is trying to break into our room, and I told her that it's no females allowed today. Anyways, yeah, again, do I think that it can bounce higher? Sure, but ultimately, this thing is not great. Rectop says, GM Crown, can you take a look at Tesla on the daily weekly? Sure, man. In fact, it was really funny this morning. I read a Twitter post first thing in the morning. Let me actually bring it up right here because this was good. Yeah. Okay. Unusual Whales, which is a tremendously large account, over 2 million followers, posted that a group on Reddit called Elon Musk Hate is reportedly trying to short Tesla. He then goes on to provide details. This is very, very important here. They are buying the $100 strike puts for June. Okay. June regulars. God, like, people are, if this Elon Musk Hate group isn't like an actual troll group, I actually cannot believe how fucking dumb some people are. The amount of financial illiteracy here is just, it's mind blowing. So I was writing out a response here, but it's just fuck it. Like who actually cares? But I'll tell my response on this video. And look, if you think buying a $100 strike put on Tesla, which trades at 250 bucks almost, is going to do anything to drive the price down, you are a fucking idiot, because you literally have not done the bare minimum in figuring out what the hell an options contract is. An options contract, or a put contract in this case, is the option but not obligation to sell at a certain price, which is, what you bought it for, or, strike plus price, and at a certain date. So what are they saying? They're saying, okay, we will buy these puts right now, which are going to be like, these are going to get fucking crushed in premium. It is literally more than 50% below current price, I believe. Yeah, it's literally more than 50%, close to 60% below the current price. What are they going to do? Like, exercise those puts so that they get assigned short stock? Okay, well, now you have a shit ton of risk for any sort of upside move. And on top of that, you just sold your stock for effectively $100 and whatever the premium was. Meaning that someone else bought Tesla super fucking cheap and immediately made a decent amount of money, actually. So funny stuff. Anyways, as far as the analysis goes, let's see. So Tesla here, anytime I see something coming down to a major moving average like this on the first pass, this being the white 200 moving average, I'm going to be looking for a bounce around a region like this. I see a couple of long-legged dildos right here, which, are a good signal that things likely do try at least a bounce from this region. I think that you could easily see Tesla bounce to like 280, anywhere between 280 to 300, completely fine. And I think that's probably your next move. But other than that, I mean, is this the next major higher low on the monthly? It's possible, but it's going to still take a few months to really formulate. So we won't know for now. But I would say that this bounce is likely to continue. I think, again, at least like 270, with as much as about, let's actually make that 310, somewhere in that pocket there. Probably be looking for a pullback, but pull back into a higher low would be bullish. So something like this probably trades up, or I literally already have it in. Yeah, something like this. Then I think it comes back down. Does it set in a higher low? That'd be bullish, especially if it's above that the current low. And if it makes a new low, okay, then you actually have structure breaking down here. But for now, I mean, the monthly is just bouncing off of the green 55. So to me, it looks like one massive long-term accumulation, right? Your highs here, your bottoms are rising along the way. long term, probably fine if you're thinking years on down the road. But in the short term, bounce continues. I don't think the bounce is going to be a reversal to like new highs from exactly here, but I do think it'll bounce decently from here. Also, generally, when you start to read about a lot of things in the news, which I see a lot about Tesla recently as well, especially with Tim Walsh, which just, that is just so fucking pathetic. Like, regardless of your of your politics, just to cheer on a stock failing is just so fucking stupid. But yeah. Anyways, I completely forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, when the mainstream media starts to talk a shit ton about some sort of a stock, is probably around a major turning point. In this case, things were coming down pretty significantly. When everyone starts to talk about it, probably ready for a bounce. Vice versa for the upside as well. All right. Myth Reindeer says, hello, good sir. How's the day going? It's all right, man. Actually, it's starting to turn around here in Finland, and it's fucking beautiful outside, but still quite cold. Anyways, you're looking at HNT on the daily, weekly, buy but should do. What would be the best bullish hopium for the year? Best bullish, but has to be realistic. Okay, has to be realistic. Well, that makes things more difficult, right? Okay, well, let's go over to helium. There's actually a crypto chart for this one, so it does have full history. Full history, absolutely fucking hate it. Short term, though, just like most things in this market, I do think you're getting ready for a bounce here. I don't think this thing is going to be going below its March lows anytime soon. I think that this is a bounce area. I do think that it can bounce, easily in the next few months to like $4.5, $5. Best bullish hopium. It's hard because the weekly is in a very obvious downtrend here, and can't really be bullish for something for long, as long as you're in a weekly downtrend. So where can I take this? I think at some point this year you probably see around $5. But as long as this thing's below $7, I'd actually be, again, long-term bearish. Like, I'm just never going to love a chart like this. But yeah, in the short term, does it bounce more? Probably yes. I think that's probably the play for right now. But end of year, well, let's just kind of forecast out. All right. Maybe by end of year, I don't know, it gets somewhere around like $5, a little bit above $5, and then find out if the rally is real or not. I don't think it is, but maybe the rally is indeed in the room with us right now. But yeah, short-term rally, I guess the hopium is that it'll continue on from there. Hopefully that was helpful, ma'am. All right. Tristram says, hello, sir. Have you dropped your pants yet? Actually, I have. It's already too hot in here. The insulation in these fucking Finnish homes is way too good. Thanks for the Crown VMP trial. Awesome, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Your oscillators make things easier. That's really good to hear. They do a good job with filtering noise compared to free stuff that I've been using. Yeah, that's the exact point. My question, could you describe step by step how do you prepare your daily analysis, and how would you prepare your daily trading plan if you were day trading? Okay. A couple of questions here. One, could you describe step by step how do you prepare your daily analysis? So when I'm strictly doing analysis for YouTube, understand that that's it's can generally be different than trading. I'm generally just looking at trends, and for the most part, YouTube is most interested in, of course, higher term timeframes. In the general direction. So what I do before my videos is I mark off, the major trending highs and trending lows, all the significant pivots. As of right now, that would be this high right here, and that would be this low right here. And from there, I start to look into some of my indicators and apply the bias of trend versus that. So in this case, if I were to let's say we go over here to my stochastic oscillator, I say, hey, we're in a downturn right now. I have to have a bearish bias as long as Bitcoin is below that early March high. So if I get bearish signals on my stochastic oscillator, for example, I'm more likely to play those. I'm more likely to want to play those. Or it's just, it's a more likely direction to be going. Volatility, obviously very, very influential and helpful as well, because it can kind of help you time when these moves are likely to happen and also when they're likely to end. But as far as my daily analysis, I try to really not reference anything from Twitter, from YouTube, from Reddit, whatever the fuck, social media. You might be on TikTok as well. I try to keep everything super fresh. So I don't watch anyone else. I don't do anything else. I'm just going off of the basics, and then I'll check in on, all of my major indicators. So that'll be the HPDR. HPDR, I always want to know where that is. That gives the general ranges. Again, we already went over the stochastic. Maybe there's something on the RSI. I want to check that out as well. And then what else? And then that's pretty much it. I'll check out some of the fundamental stuff as well if things are slow, like the hash ribbon. So yeah, as far as my own trading, so nowadays I do everything 100% automated because I'm using this tool over here, the Quant Prime AI. This is one of the reasons why I shill it so hard, is because I use it every fucking day. It's changed my life. Now, the Quant Prime AI essentially allows you to not just automate your trades, but also automate your back testing. So that changes everything for me. So that's probably not too relevant. And I'm guessing if you're saying if you were day trading. So yeah, like when I used to do things by hand, manually, how would I structure my day? Or what exactly was the question? How would you prepare your daily trading plan? Oh, okay. In that case, I would essentially be doing a manual version of what I do with this service over here. I would have my trade strategy checklist is what I call it, which is a checklist of all the different criteria that I need in order to greenlight an entry, and then also separate criteria for greenlighting my exit, and then also risk management. And I would just wait, stare at the charts and wait for something to happen. That was pretty much it. So yeah. Anyways, the automation does make it a lot more fucking easy. I'll tell you that. All right. Sweet. L Gordon 88 says, I've watched every day since 2022. Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. And just joined the Discord. Welcome, sir. It's a crazy place. Anyone can join, but not everyone can stay. All good, man. Could you please give your medium-term outlook on the Bitcoin mining stock WULF? WULF. All right. WULF. Terra Wolf. Cool name, but usually you need more than a cool name. Again, coming down to a significant prior low, got very, very close to there at 275. Maybe gives another spike towards there, but I have to be looking for a bounce off of a region like this. Again, long term, don't like it, but short term, you're in a bounce zone right here. And I do think that this thing will like a minimum bounce to 375 like relatively soon. And then I think that things could actually carry on decently more from there, closer to $5, let's say. But this thing's bearish as long as you're below all these major moving averages here, which is about $6.50 or so. And again, this thing has a history of having very, very intense pops, but it just bleeds all of it out relatively soon after that. So, I think it bounces here, probably gets somewhere around this region, but then coming back down most likely. So yeah, man, hopefully that was helpful. Again, more likely to bounce in the short term, long term, wouldn't trust it. Okay. Lucas Second says, GM, sir, could you look at CAD USD on the weekly? Sure. We got some real forex here, stuff that you can actually spend. Yeah, so the Canadian dollar versus US dollar, we've been looking for a bounce off this region for, I guess I drew this back in January. I'm still looking for the same thing. I do think that it will bounce significantly more than where it's at right now. This is, in my opinion, very obviously putting in a low right here. It'll be fully confirmed even for the most, conservative of people, if and when this thing does trade back above the February 10th high at about 70.5 cents. I do think that it will get somewhere around there. And at that point, I think that this rally extends decently somewhere between like 73 cents on the lower end to maybe as much as 75 cents on the higher end. Long term, again, not a big fan of this, but it has a history of bouncing off of major lows like this. And I think if it is going to break down over the long term, you're going to get a bounce first into another lower high on the monthly and then roll over and break down. But for right now, I'm not looking for continuation to the downside from this exact posture right here. I'm looking for a bounce. So yeah, man, hopefully that was helpful as well. All right. Hamia says, hey, Crown, how many years do you guesstimate that Bitcoin will be worth 1 million, if ever? Fuck, I really don't. I don't have a good track record with these sort of things because I don't really think. I just don't think like this, to be honest. Shit, if Bitcoin was going to hit 1 million, I don't know how many years it would be, but however long it takes for like super hyperinflation to actually begin. I don't know when that is. But yeah, I think it's more about that happening rather than I don't know, just having a general target there. Like I'd like to see something like 200,000 hit first, or I'll worry about it if and when it becomes more relevant. But yeah, man, I really don't have a good guess for you, honestly. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd say just as like a blind date, 2050. I don't know why. No reason given. It just sounds like a good number. Manticore says, greetings, sir. How do you mitigate exchange risk? Could you please take us through what you look for in exchange? Do you cap how much you hold and spread risk over a few exchanges? After GOX and FTX, I'm not comfortable with large trading accounts all in one location. Yeah, I'm right there with you. So the exchanges that I look at or the exchanges that I use are Bybit and Bluffin. Bybit, I think, is still the gold standard for exchanges, but also I understand that, most people can't use Bybit because they have gotten quite stringent with who they allow in. Now, Bluffin is comparable in many ways. Doesn't have as good liquidity because nothing has as good liquidity as Bybit, but it is no KYC, which is rather nice. So what do I look for in exchange? I want to see that I want to meet the actual founders for one. So I've actually met Ben from Bybit. Comes off as like a straight shooter to me, and a legitimate guy, and he actually knows what the hell he's talking about, which is cool. And then for Bluffin, I've spoken. I haven't like met face to face like I have with Ben, but I have spoken with them over the phone, and they are actually domiciled. Or sorry, they're not domiciled, but they're located. Their offices are in the States. So I look at that as a good sign because the United States, up until now, has been pretty adversarial to crypto. So if you have an exchange that is trying to make it work in the U.S., like under U.S. laws, and really making an effort to be legitimate or at least not break the law, I look at that as a really good sign. So that's why I like these two exchanges. But if your question is, do you cap how much you hold and spread risk over a few exchanges? That's exactly what I do between those two. I have relatively small amounts on these exchanges over a couple accounts, and that the reason is exactly why, because I want to spread out my risk. But generally, the literal total amount that I have on the account on an exchange is relatively low compared to my total equity, which is mostly in holdings at this point. But that's why we love leverage, because leverage allows you to still get the same risk profile as you might have wanted if you had your full stack on there, but you don't have to have your full stack on there. Now, brings up other issues as well. Obviously, it's not going to be applicable to everyone. Make sure that your strategy can actually survive these sort of things, but you get the point. Yeah. Anyways, Lovewood says, and also, by the way, Manticore, just before we go on, most exchanges will allow you like some pretty stringent security, 2FA, all these sort of things. These are no-brainers. For myself, again, I do fully automated trading at this point. So when I'm setting up the API with the exchange, like I'll whitelist certain things and make it so that you can't like a random person can't just come into the account even if they had the password and start transferring out. These sort of things. There should also be holds on any sort of address that you want to, withdraw to. So these sort of things make me feel better about it. But at the end of the day, the risk is not zero, no matter what. All right, Love Woods, you rock as well, sir. SPY futures. Yeah, let's check this one out. Some real traditional markets right here. I think most things, whether they're crypto or whether they're traditional markets, are getting ready for a bounce or an extension of this bounce. SPY, no different here. The weekly I like as putting in a low right around that green moving average. That's a 55. I do think at some point, maybe it starts this next week, maybe it starts in April, we do start to see a bounce that at some point gets somewhere around 50 to 5,900, somewhere in this little pocket right here. That is where I would be looking for a lower high if this thing is actually going to be bearish, but it's usually not a good idea to be betting against the stock market, especially after it's down 15% already. But what I would prefer to happen is that it actually does get rejected here, comes back down, sets in a higher low, and then works its way to the upside. That's like the obvious trade to me. But ultimately, the short term, kind of unchanged. I do think that this one is bouncing from here. I don't think it's going to go lower from this exact posturing. It's very likely going to bounce first, maybe even close to 6,000. It could roll over from 5,900 to 6,000 bucks. I don't know. We'll worry about that after that move happens first. And then come back to it. Yeah, man, hopefully that was helpful. Volpes says, hello, good sir. Question regarding the BBWP. When reads come off extreme lows or highs, especially prolonged periods, how do you determine the direction of price action, and how do you verify whether it will actually follow through? Really good question, actually. So first things first, volatility, as you probably understand, is direction neutral, meaning that it does not give you a bias on direction. It gives you a bias on whether price is likely to expand or contract. Expansion essentially means trend. Contract essentially means consolidate. So how can you get a bias, or how can you determine the direction of price action? Well, you never know 100% for sure, but that's why we like to use trend and momentum oscillators to give us some added confluence as to what the direction is likely to be. So the trend, you could use moving averages for that. You could just use, the ancient method of identifying lows and highs as well. It's actually just as good. In fact, in many cases, even better. And then you could also use like a stochastic oscillator. If it's crossing the upside direction and your daily trend is up and your volatility is low, okay, I'm going to be betting on an upside move. Am I going to be right all the time? No, but I'm going to be right more often than not for sure. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful, man. Okay, Dunning-Kruger effect says, hello, thanks for your daily analysis. All good, man. I'm picking some low market cap stocks that have been unappreciated last couple of years, and that might be an accumulation range. Okay, we shall see. This is a Euro stock, so probably already not good. Inensis. Let's check this one. Yeah, it's out right here, okay. Yeah, actually, I think that this is a fine pick, honestly. This thing is obviously getting reaccumulated. We see that there is a monthly higher low. It's close to that last prior lower high. That's about 160 or so. It actually traded up to there this month, but rejected pretty substantially from there. So I'd still want to see an actual closure above your June 2023 highs. But if and when that does happen, I mean, this thing, I think you're going to be very, very happy. This thing's probably going to move back up, north of $3.50. But for right now, honestly, this looks fine to me as well. I think if you're going to be playing that game, you have a very specific game that you're playing. It's not my game, but it's a valid game in that you're looking for beat up stocks that have been exhibiting some signs of accumulation. Well, this one has been, so that's fine. I think at least your theory here is correct, and as long as it has this higher low from 2024, like, I'm going to be a little bit more biased towards an upside breakout here, but is it happening this month? Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it to me. But maybe it gives a try in April. At least needs to get above the 6th of March high, preferably close above there, or just trade above the June 2023 high. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful, man. All right, let me take another sip of this. We are 37 minutes into this bitch, and we got Weird Beard. He says, hey, Crown, thanks for the content. All good, man. I know you don't have the context, but I watched a Ben Cowan video where he mentioned quarterly options expiration can affect Bitcoin volatility, but it didn't explain how. Could you give me your take on it? And if you have time, explain how it would affect price and volatility. Okay, so, all right. I'm assuming he's referring to quarterly regular options. So nowadays they have options expirations like every fucking day. It seems I'm pretty sure it actually literally is every single day. When I was trading options, it was weeklies. It wasn't dailies. It was weeklies. Expirations, were the minimum. But I'm assuming he's referring to quarterly regular options. So that happens only, of course, 4 times a year. And the reason why it's a big deal is because a lot of big money managers will be, sizing up on this, on this expiration, very specifically because it's usually the most liquid expiration for that quarter. So you'll see a lot of price actions usually pivoted around these areas. In fact, I was going to do a video on it. I'll probably still do it tomorrow, but it's going to be going over the quarterly effect for Bitcoin, especially in March, which I thought was, I think is pretty interesting. Maybe other people will, maybe other people won't. But yeah, the reason why it's a big deal is because traditionally, especially like way back in the day, even before I became a trader, that was your only that was like one of your only expirations. They would have monthlies, everything on the third Friday of the month, and then they'd have the quarterlies, which were like the big ones that just had a shit ton of actual trading around them. So yeah, that's why they matter. Can they affect Bitcoin volatility? People will say this without really understanding what they mean. Like, do options affect volatility? Yes, because that's what you're trading when you're trading options. But obviously he's not going to say here whether that's going to increase volatility or decrease volatility. And the reason why is because he doesn't know. And the reason why he doesn't know is because you actually can't know. You can't know which way that's going to go. Generally, volatility will decline into the expiration. But up until like the last minute of expiration, it can do some weird shit. But ultimately, volatility and quarterly options, there's not going to be like a direct relationship. We'd have to know what options are being traded, and are we having more buyers or sellers? On what side are the calls or puts? We don't know that information, or at least I don't know that information right now. I'm sure you could probably find it if you really wanted to. But yeah. Anyways, could you give me your take on it and explain how it can affect price and volatility? Yeah, the reason why it matters, again, a lot of big money managers will be, trading that specific expiration. It's less so nowadays, like I explained, because nowadays we have daily options expirations rather than, only monthlies or only quarterlies. This was very, very long ago. But people are still kind of in that old habit, that old sort of traditional habit where the quarterly regular expirations are like the big ones. So yeah. Anyways, Free Mind says, hello, brother. Hope all is well. Typically, and by the way, generally after the expiration, volatility actually starts to expand again. All right. Free Mind says, hello, brother. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well, sir. I remember you telling an epic, hilarious story about horny dudes on Twitter. I forget. You reenacted the whole scenario with the voice bit and everything that had me literally laughing in tears. That's awesome, man. I have no idea what you're referring to. We've been on this channel for too long that I don't even know my own jokes. Anyways, I'm horny for the HPDR ecosystem. Could you show a live example of how you would use it, especially the oscillators HPDR and V on the 1 hour and 4 hour time frame? Keep in mind, do my strategy for me. Also, can the system be used with a quant program? That is the purpose of the quant program. It has full operation with all of the indicators that we offer as well, of course. And like we already went over at the beginning of this video, you can actually try out all of our packages for free for the first 30 days with the code TRIAL in all capitals. But yeah, as far as giving direct examples on the HPDR ecosystem, which I namely look at the bands and then the HPDR. But if you want like a very specific strategy that goes alongside this, I actually do give you a strategy in the course materials. It's going to be a little bit too much to go over in a video like this, especially when we're already pretty deep into this one. But generally, the way that I look at the full hour for the HPDR bands is that when price is closing below or above one of these, outer rings here, especially the further that it gets on either side, the more and more that I'm interested in perhaps playing out a scalp around these regions. If I was literally just trading like that, I don't trade like that. Again, if you want the actual way that I would use this one in a strategy, that's going to actually be in the program, which you can get for free right now. So, that would be one way. It's okay, if price comes down, let's say below the 61.8 level, and I see volatility start to actually decrease, to me that says, okay, we're probably in for a mean reversion play. We're probably going to see a move back around the median, and so on and so forth. When things are like this, right in the middle of the range, doesn't really mean much to me. Or what it means is not to fucking trade in the middle of the range. So yeah, as far as HPDR, a lot of ways you can use this. I like to mark off specific pivots that it has been working off of. So for example, I haven't even looked at the 4-hour time frame except for now. We can see that this particular line right here, this reading for the 4-hour HPDR at -60 or so has correlated with these regions. Well, do these correlate with local lows on price action? Let's see. All right, let's mark off this first one right here. Boom. Okay, so that's that low. Second one right here, boom, that's that low. Third one right here, that's literally on the low as well. And what do you know? Most recently, we had one pretty much effectively where price action already is right now. So, when I see something like this, it's like, hey, when things get down around there, probably should be looking for a bounce. You can do the same thing to the upside as well. You can see that all of the prior rallies have been stopped around this 80 plus read or so. You can draw these sort of correlations and create a plan around that pretty simply. Question would be, how would you manage your risk? Well, in this case, you're essentially playing trend. So, if I was, if I was buying this one right here, I would wait at least until this dildo, and I'd have my risk management on the actual read that created that low on the HPDR, something like that. So yeah, all right, nice. And you can use all of the tools. You can use some of the tools. Like there's a lot that comes with the HPDR package. So yeah, you don't need to use all of them. I mostly focus on the bands and the HPDR. The HPDRV, I haven't really found a good use for. And the cones are extremely useful if you're an options trader, but less so if you're not, although they are quite fun to use because they can give you projections in the future and probabilities for that. All right, sweet. Samuel Johnson says, hello, hey there, Crown. Would you check a stock, please? XPeng. Okay, it sounds like it's Chinese, but trades on NYSE. Yeah. Well, I do see that this thing was in a long-term accumulation range for the last 3 years, going back to 2022. It's just tested the top side of this range yet again. I don't think it's ready to break out just yet. I do think that this is going to turn into a swing high, and this thing's going to come back down, maybe closer to like 18-ish bucks. If it is going to be bullish, I'd be expecting a higher low somewhere around there and then a real try to the upside. But I'm more inclined to say that this thing is not ready to break out just yet. I'm more inclined to say it's going to spend like another month or two consolidating a little bit below that $23.50 region. Maybe during that time, it comes all the way down, like I said, to 17, 18 bucks. But the next time that it reapproaches this high, and especially the next time that it trades above the March highs, that's your breakout, and I'd be looking for a move towards 35 or so, maybe even as much as 40. Somewhere between 35 to 40 if and when that does happen. We don't necessarily have a higher low on the monthly just yet, but it ain't a lower low. So there's that. So we have some indications of accumulation here. Yeah, man. All right, cool. What else do we got? Daily pullback targets, yeah. Wow, it's like you read my mind. $35, or was it $35? Yeah, $35. I think anywhere between 35 to 40, if and when it does break out. Cool. All right. Treebeard says, hello, Master. As a former authorized market maker, what are the main challenges having a big account, and how many people were responsible for such account? Well, you have to understand my situation was probably different than many market makers' situation because I was trading directly under my mentor's account. Many people who get into equity options market making, they're going to join a firm and then they're going to trade the firm's account, or the firm's book is what it's called. So yeah. Anyways, I feel like I'm missing some context here. So yeah, how many people were for mine? It was just us two, of course, but that's going to be completely dependent upon what your setup is. How many years of professional experience did you have when you reached there? Well, again, I had a really lucky situation. My father was a trader. He was able to teach me, of course. And then, my mentor was essentially a family friend that my father introduced me to. So yeah, like I didn't have any experience really. Yes, my father was kind of teaching me ever since I was about 11 or 12, but is that real experience? It's kind of experience. But probably not the experience that you're talking about, which is like literal trading. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of those firms, like they will hire out of college or out of university. So, I mean, those people are not going to have any experience anyways. So yeah, it depends. It depends, man. What time frame these accounts trade on? Everyone is doing different stuff, man. People are doing stuff on. I mean, they're not even really looking at time frames. They're more so looking at numbers. You have to understand that market makers, especially in equity options, are doing something completely different to what you're likely used to as a trader. As a trader is trading spot or futures, you're just looking to buy low and sell high. That's the basic idea. Equity options market makers are looking to play delta neutral strategies that give you some sort of arbitrage between the three legs of an options of an option setup. So you got your calls, you got your puts, and then that versus stock is the whole game. And you are able to find delta neutral ways to kind of wrap up those quotes that you get hit on as a market maker, so that you can pull in a relatively small amount, but do it very, very often and as much as you can. So yeah, that's the idea there. What were the main challenges of having a big account? I mean, I honestly don't even know how big our account was. I don't know if you'd even consider it a big account compared to a firm or something like that. I mean, that's going to be a completely different game, right? But the main challenges, that we had were honestly due to other market makers and other firms that were just more sophisticated than us. Like, that was the game. People like to blame market makers for everything, right? And realistically, it's the market makers who are fucking each other over rather than fucking over the average person. The average person, is they're probably just fucking over themselves, to be honest. But if anything, it's a big quant firm that is probably fucking them over. And when I say fuck them over, I mean just they create price action that they do not like. It doesn't mean that they're getting fucked over. It just means they're on the wrong side of it. So yeah. Anyways, I think I got every portion of that. Yeah. So for us, it's just 2. But it depends where you start on from. So I need to be super transparent about what my situation was, because I think it was maybe a little bit more unique than most people who are breaking into the scene. Mr. Barash says, HypeUSDT. You love this hype thing, don't you? Well, let's check it out. We got hype here. It's having a decent bounce. We were looking for a bounce. We spoke about it last week, which I'm pretty sure you asked about it there as well, which is fine. It's all good. I like kind of keeping up with these altcoins. It's like watching a baby grow older. Well, I don't even know what that's like, because I don't have fucking kids, but you get the point. Anyways, looking at hype here, it's already hit the bounce target that I thought would be like a super obvious target and not really mean much. If it wants to go for another leg, I'd be looking somewhere around 19-ish, 19, give or take about 50 cents from that number. But around this region, I'd really be looking for a lower high, if it even gets there to begin with. If you see this thing in the short term come back down and close below Saturday's low of 1541, at that point, I'd say, hey, this thing is not getting ready for another upside move or an extension of this bounce. It's getting ready for another run at the lows. But until then, I would actually favor continuation towards this region here. It still doesn't change anything for me for the very long term. As long as this thing's below about $20.50 or $21, I'm certainly not a fan of it, but it could extend this bounce a decent amount, and perhaps that's tradable for you. I don't know. So yeah. Sweet. Sugar Burger says, man, I've been watching you since August 2017. That's so fucking cool, honestly. I watched a lot of your videos and streams throughout the years and learned how to trade from doing that. It's changed my life, my good friend. I want to say thank you so much, and my best wish. Man, these comments always they really force me to kind of slow down and reflect upon this whole journey with YouTube, because it really did come out of nowhere. So to get comments like this, it's really amazing. It's like, wow, I really understand, or like I'm starting to get an idea of what this YouTube channel could be. And as time has gone on, I've started to realize that more and more. And it's a powerful thing. Now, it's not going to work for everyone. Some people probably absolutely fucking hate what I have to say, which is completely fine. Everyone has different strategies, everyone has different opinions, but I'm really glad to hear that you've had a good experience and you've been able to make it work for yourself. That's fucking awesome, man. Like, I couldn't be more happy for you, really, because I know what it's like to be at the point before that where it's like, oh shit, I have no fucking clue what to do, and I'm not in a good place, So if I can help in any way for that situation, it makes me feel better, because again, I know what it's like from being there. I Sky Ski. I think I got it right. Hi, Crown. If you don't mind sharing, what are your main automated strategies that you're currently running? Do you plan to change them, maybe short strategies, if the downtrend continues and we transitioning to a longer term downtrend? Let me see. You are actually not in the quant prime. Interesting. All right. The automated strategies that I'm running right now, I'm running one that's on a 4-hour time frame. It's an exponential moving average scalping strategy. I actually just posted it in the quant prime library on Discord. And the other one that I'm using is actually, it's actually a 12-hour strategy, but the problem is that it hasn't fired off for quite some time, but it's been treating me very, very well. So I keep it alive. It's not going to fire off anytime soon, honestly, because it requires an uptrend on that time frame, and the 12-hour time frame is massively down, but or at least for Bitcoin, if I go to this one right here. So until then, I'm just playing this 4-hour scalping strategy, which is like a super active trading tool, and it's been pretty good for me during these more ranging and boring times. It's just very small time scalping. So yeah. Hopefully that was helpful, man. And if you're in the Quant Prime service, then you can actually find very, very similar strategy templates to what I'm personally running from some of my last few posts actually. But as always, I leave all of those strategies in more of a generic state. It's not wise for everyone to literally do the exact same fucking thing as each other, right? So yeah. Anyways, unknown 000 says HBAR no time frames given, so as always, just gonna roll with it and make it up. Let's see what HBAR is doing over here. Looks like most of the rest of this market. So whenever I see something around the 200 simple, like, I don't like being bearish when it's right on there. Yes, at some point it can certainly break. Like, it's not impossible for it to break, obviously, but I don't like betting against it until it actually does break. And for right now, I consider this not broken. I mean, it's literally not broken because it's not even below the 200 simple, the white moving average right here. So, I would feel more confident calling for a bounce here, similar to what we've seen in most other assets today. Most things are kind of looking for, a bit of a bounce, bit of an extension of a bounce. This thing, I imagine, probably does as well, but you can certainly see that it is relatively weak compared to most things we've seen today, because it hasn't bounced at all, really, for the past week or so, whereas most things have been putting in some, okay-ish bounces. When I go to the weekly, I think to myself, this thing is coming down. This thing is going to come down to like 15.5 cents and try for a bounce there. Monthly, not a fan of it. This is where, like, look, my rule is I don't get super bearish as long as you're above this, but I do feel like, look, if Bitcoin shows any sort of weakness, this thing is going to break down, and you're going to see this thing trade closer to like 13.5 cents to 15 cents region before the next sort of bounce. And that's really what I'd be more, that's really more appropriately what I think is actually going to happen here. The hopium, though, is that the 200 simple will continue to hold, but you can effectively count all of these tests over the past month and a half now as tests of the 200 simple, on the same line here. So it's like, might not break on this pass, but If it gets a bounce, maybe it bounces like 22 cents. I don't think it's going to be changing anything. This thing is bearish, is like straight up bearish. As long as you're below, what is this high here? The 2nd of March high, which is 28.5 cents. So have to have a bearish bias as long as it's below there. That means it could rally all the way up to 22, 23 cents. Still be another lower high. So yeah, not great, but I suppose we shall see. We shall see, especially if the monthly closed below the 5 exponential. I mean, that means that the monthly must absolutely close above 20 cents. It's not impossible for it to do. It's just it's looking quite tight here, but I don't know. I guess there is some bullish divergence forming on the daily time frame. So yeah, I will hold on to my guns here. Give it a chance to bounce off the 200 simple. If it breaks down, it breaks down. Okay, fair enough. We know where it's going after that. But I always have to bet on a bounce from that region until proven otherwise. And again, at some point, it very likely will be proven otherwise. But maybe it takes some time. Anyways, MS 33K. No more is at the bottom. What is it going to be? Thank you for the daily videos. Silver on the weekly. Yeah, let's check this one out. I know this one's been somewhat popular with some people in the Discords, and we have been bullish on it coming into the end of this month. And well, it almost made a new high for this year during that time. I do think that this one continues up from here. Does it play out a short-term pullback first? I don't know if that's relevant to you. Probably does, to be honest. But, this thing could easily come down to 32 bucks. Thing could easily come down to like 30, 31 bucks. It doesn't really change much. Higher term timeframes are very, very good here. Monthly is continuation. I do think that this one will trade north of 35 bucks, probably closer to like 37, 38. Quarterly, which is going to be closing at the end of this month. Again, like I'm not bearish on something like this. This one eventually goes higher. So yeah, long term, I'd still be bullish on it. Short term, does it pull back more? Probably, but not sure if that's relevant to you, sir. Tobo says, GM, sir, I hope you are hydrated. You know what? Good reminder, sir. Good reminder indeed. Holy shit. We are already an hour into this bitch. Okay. Tobo says, yes. What ratio do you use for your tasty beverage? I do, fuck man, I even really count it out, but I take one big ass spoon of salt. The amount of salt that I eat would probably scare most people. And then creatine, I try to do like 5 to 10 grams. And that seems to actually make my cardio incredibly strong. It's really fucking weird. Anyways, you're looking at OTC stock CYRFF. RFF. Wait, what? I literally just said it. CYFRF. This, yes, Solana, yes, Soul Strategies. Okay, I thought that it sounded familiar. Short term, daily. Bullish divergence coming off this low. I think that this bounce continues up a little bit more, maybe gets towards like 209, 210 region. Of course, it is a downtrend right now, though, as long as you are below essentially 2.5 bucks. And so while I do think it bounces from here, it's kind of the same issue that I have with a lot of these charts. Like you still got lower highs. As long as you're below 2.5 bucks, I think it could easily bounce up north of $2 from here, though, which is a decent move. Does it reject there, come back down for another swing at the 200 simple, and then try a rally? I don't know, but I do think that your next move is a bounce. I don't think that the bounce turns into a reversal, though. Just to put it like really fucking straight. I don't think that that's what's happening here, but I can be wrong. I can be very much wrong on this one. But let's give it a chance to bounce first. If by some miracle it does reclaim 2.5 bucks, okay, fine. Bullish, runs at these highs again, probably even more. But until then, I'd kind of be a little more skeptical of this one. But again, short term bounce, very, very likely. Cool. We're literally at the above an hour right now. I'm just going to briefly go through these, see if there's anything like super easy to get through. Okay, this one's way too long, so we'll skip that. Okay, no. Any plans for another small 420 account this year? I've actually been thinking about it. Yeah, I would like to do it, but I think for, because of legality reasons, I should probably do it on a testnet account. It's not going to be the same, to be honest, but Could be. It would be really, really awesome to do. So I want to find like a legitimate, maybe I do it through like my actual brokerage account, you know, and I trade like an IBIT or something. Maybe an idea, but not super relevant right now because very little is fucking happening right now. Anyways, let's see. Okay, another request there. Let's see. Okay. Oh, the last one right here. Okay. Oh, and Deadwood. Check out Deadwood. Actually, that could be a good one to check out. Using Blofin link. Thought if signing up with link, you get money deposited into account. No. So the Blofin link that you see in the description below gives you a discount essentially on your trading fees. It actually is technically a cashback offer. So that means that, and it's currently 15%, by the way. So that means that when you make a trade, you pay a certain amount of fees, and 15% of those fees are given back to you into your account. So you'll see that show up in your funding account there. So yeah. And do you need to have Quant Prime or deposit a specific? No. I honestly don't know where you're getting this from, but yeah, if you want to get on Blofin, the main selling points, of course, are no KYC and, well, and what I just said as well. You get you get a little bit of a discount effectively. So yeah, that's where we're going to end things for today. Little over an hour. We didn't unfortunately get to everyone, but that's just the way that it goes. I posted up the new Q&A session over here. We got Rectops first. He's first finally. We'll give him the green dildo of peace and prosperity. And we'll sign off on that note. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next Q&A session.